Shanti, Shanti. Namah Shivaya, and welcome to our another day of meditation. Um, Everybody probably is experiencing, a lot of the same, collective anxiety. We have this shutdown, this pandemic that's going on. Some places are starting to open up. Here in the States, if you're watching us from around the world, now we have the crisis politically with the police force and police brutality, and it's it's one of those kind of things that is like. Everything happens for a reason, and we can't really see the outcome of an event until we're at the end of it. And so at this point, we don't know why, we are experiencing this at this time when we were already in a crisis of shutdown and political division just about the virus. But what I've noticed is that the anxiety level in people has risen. It's taken that anxiety that was there because of the virus, and it's kind of heightened the pitch a little bit now with the rioting and the demonstrations and the discussion about, what is the relationship between African Americans and the police force, and African American men especially, and also like the energy. We had this a similar discussion a few years ago, except people were busy, people were moving and going to work, and there were a lot of people who just didn't really take note of it. If they weren't African American or they weren't connected to those communities, they just kind of went about their daily life. What you're seeing now is because of the shutdown, you're seeing far so many more people taking note of the situation and the crisis that is happening in the African American community. And this is what I mean by, that karmically everything happens for a reason. There's something that's actually positive about this happening now. It means that there's more voices that are being heard, and the violence is being acknowledged, and you have everybody from just the common person on their social media to the Pope now speaking out about this. And so we always have to look for the positives, even when things feel like they're the most volatile or the most darkest moments. We have to see that there's always potential for something incredibly powerful to come out of it, and positive. The meditation practice allows you to do that because of the stillness, because of the sitting with the mind and trying to calm the mind, to keep the mind from going into a place of anxiety and fear and panic. And the other thing that I've noticed is that even with myself, there has been a couple of moments where I had a moment of anxiety, And because of the meditation practice, I was able to say, why are you allowing yourself to go into experiencing this anxiety? What is going to be the good of experiencing the anxiety? And I was able to question myself and talk myself out of allowing the mind to churn and become anxious. But through the meditation practice that you're able to recognize it, to not allow the emotions and the mind to take over and then rule you. You are able to pull back with the intellect and stop that process of going into a fear-based emotion. So no matter where you are in the world, like I said, it's collectively we're experiencing this in a way that doesn't happen always in history, doesn't always happen if it only takes place like every few hundreds of years that we see some kind of pandemic or something where everybody's experiencing the same kind of calamity or uh, distress. So that's interesting also as a yoga teacher, because a lot of times I speak only from the point of view of being here in the States. And, this makes whatever is happening more global, more relevant to everybody. Taking a moment and drawing your senses inward. And as you draw the senses inward, know that you're also drawing in the mind. It's the mind that controls all of the senses, right? The sense of taste, touch, smell, hearing, all is controlled by the mind. And when we talk about fear and anxiety, the senses, the external senses, react to that fear-based anxiety. We know that the way you see things and hear things and taste things and the heart rate, the heat of the body, all react to anxiety. You could be eating something, that you really like, and if you have a moment of anxiety, the taste of it is different, and you won't want to enjoy it. So by drawing in this external senses, we're actually learning to control and train the mind. So draw your senses inward. And to help that control of the mind, allow the breath to deepen. And I'm going to count the breath so that you match the breath to the count. So inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Inhale deeply. Exhale deeply. As you inhale, hear the sound of Om. Om. As you exhale, hear or chant the sound of Om internally. Inhale deeply. Exhale deeply. Inhale the sound of Om. Exhale the sound of Om. Focus on the mantra of Om and the deep inhales and exhales. As the mind wanders, as the mind starts to want to control the situation, focus on the inhales and the exhales and that mantra of Om that's resonating within your own body. Chanting the sound of Om internally. Continue to exhale the sound of Om internally. Continue the deep inhales, complete exhales. Silently tell yourself, I am not this body. Silently tell yourself, I am not this mind. Silently tell yourself, I am not these thoughts. Silently tell yourself, I am not these emotions. Silently tell yourself that you are Swayambakachit, self-illuminating, infinity, eternal, and everlasting. Inhale deeply for the sound of Om. Bringing the hands together, rubbing the hands together, building heat within the hands. Bring the hands over the eyes, allow the heat from the hands to be absorbed into the eyes. Then bring the hands across the forehead, the top of the head, the back of the neck. Bringing the hands together in prayer, bringing the forehead to touch the thumbs, bowing down to the teachers and the teachings of yoga from the past, the present, and those that are still yet to be revealed. Om Bolu Sadguru Bhagavan Ki Jai. So that that idea of really calming the mind and focusing on the breath. Today I extended the breath. Usually I give you guys about a 6-count breath. And today was a 10-count breath. So you might have found that 10-count breath a little more challenging. But slow down the impulse to bring in the breath all at once and to let it all out at once. Allow the breath to really extend, really focus on it. It will, especially if you're in times of anxiety or you're in situations where the mind is really churning up emotionally. You'll find that if you can kind of elongate the breath, to a 10 count breath count or 15 breath count, that you'll really find that your mind will calm down immensely. The shorter the breath, the more active the mind is, because it's almost like hyperventilating. So work on that a little bit. Thank you all for joining me today, and I will see you tomorrow. Namaste.